Wishwa.org is an online platform for social impact causes and for social champions. It's a crowdfunding and a crowdsourcing platform that is aimed at helping anyone find the support they need in their efforts to solve problems for themselves and for others, and in the process, make our world a better place.
My presentation this evening will, I will be sharing through this evening our experiences with Mother Nature. Life is all about living and letting others live. It is all about coexisting with not just human beings, with all living beings, and most importantly, our experience through Siruthuli. Siruthuli in Tamil means small drops, and we work towards a clean and green Kovai. Kovai is short for Coimbatore. I try to crunch as much as possible our activities of 18 years in 35 minutes, but I'll be more than happy to take questions from you end of the talk. Now, Coimbatore is, I think we are very lucky because we are nestled among the Western Ghats, a horseshoe-shaped Western Ghats, where there is so much of greenery, there's so much of wildlife, and so on. Coimbatore has always been known for its sweet Siravani water, the river Noyal, and we used to have salubrious climate for a good part of the year because of the lush green corridors. But way back in 1980, UNDP warned us, and they said Coimbatore was heading towards a disaster as far as water was concerned, because water depletion was the fastest in the world. We did not pay any heed to it. In 2003, over a period of time, slowly the water stress started to eat into the entire area. And in 2003, Coimbatore district was declared as a drought-prone district. Water bodies dried up. We have several water bodies in and around Coimbatore, all of them dried up. The river Noyal, which used to be a perennial river, was totally devoid of water. It was just sand everywhere. As a result of which, agriculture failed. A water surplus city became water starved, water stressed. And that's when a few of us, few corporates, as part of their CSR activities, came together and said, it's either do or die. Let's do something before the whole place becomes a desert. So in order to make a difference, a few corporates got together, and thus was born Siruthuli in 2003. To start with, although it was just water conservation, we believe there are a lot of other allied activities which need to be carried on if water needs to be conserved and if water management has to be effective. So we had afforestation as part of our activities, waste management. Most of the water bodies, most of the waterways, like in any other city, are filled with garbage, filled with sewage, where you need to have good water flowing in the river, standing in the water bodies. We have sewage and garbage. And most important of all, if all our activities have to be made sustainable, we need to create large-scale awareness. And it's not just small awareness, it has to be across all cross-sections of the society. And last year, during the lockdown, we realized how essential the role of the farmer is. While all of us were trying to take care of our lives, the only thing that we went searching for was food, and food comes only from the farmer. So we also included grow the farmer as one of our pillars of focus. Now, starting with the water conservation, the idea was to convert brown patches of water bodies, brown dried water bodies to blue. The Noyal River Basin, Coimbatore is part of the Noyal River Basin, which is about 3,550 square kilometers, with 21 anechots and 31 system tanks, all created by the Chola kings more than 400, 500 years ago. with so much of vision, so much of long-term thinking, they had created all these water bodies. And today we have all of them in a state of ruin. Water resources management is all about watershed development programs to ensure every drop of water is safe. Desilting of water bodies, be it large tanks, large lakes, small ponds, and so on and so forth. Creating new bodies, considering the increasing the in the population, we need to create more water bodies in order to store as much as water as possible. And finally, rainwater harvesting structures, which would conserve and harvest every drop of water that is falling within the city limits. We follow a mantra taught to us by Dr. Rajendra Singh, known as the Waterman of India. When he visited us, he said, where water runs, make it walk. Where it walks, make it stand. And where it stands, make it sit in the lap of Mother Nature. Isn't it very simple? Yes, it was simple for our ancestors, but for us, it sounds a little more complicated. When it rains in the hills, there's so much of water that comes tumbling down the hills. There's so much of water that it just flows at breakneck speed. And if it is not made to slow down, the water would all just flood the adjoining areas and disappear just as fast as it came down. So check dams are some ways of making the running water walk. And where we store it in water bodies, the water bodies make it stand and ultimately make it sit in the lap of Mother Earth through percolation. When we start with it, we take up a water body for rejuvenation. What we do, we follow a certain procedure, identifying the water body in the first place. And most important is establishing a good relationship with the stakeholders, taking them into our confidence, conducting a digital survey and the quantum mapping. Visual documentation is very important, and we do it through a drone shoot. Most important is making trial pits to understand the average depth to which the silt has to be removed. Finding a sponsor. You're talking about crowdfunding. Yes, finding a sponsor and getting the funds is very, very important. Just as much as getting the necessary permission from the authorities. Then we get on to the actual desilting process, which is clearing bushes and shrubs, clearing the inlet channels. These are the channels which bring water into the water body. So they have to be clean. Very importantly, they have to be clean. And then the desiltation takes place. The silt that is removed is used as a bund so that the storage capacity can be enhanced. Any repairs to the sluices, surplus weirs are carried out. And post desiltation, again, we do a survey, quantum mapping to ensure that we have done the entire project has been carried out the way it was originally planned before it is handed over to the beneficiaries. This was the first time that we took up. Like I told you earlier, it was a do or die situation. We had to do something to bring water into the city. This was one of the first water bodies. 125 acres was the original area. 50 acres was lost to encroachment. Only 75 acres was available. And even this 75 acres was full of debris, building debris, and garbage, a lot of garbage, and shrubs with puddles of sewage. We didn't know what to do, but we just went ahead following our procedures. And that's when Dr. Rajendra Singh visited us and gave us a lot of confidence. And he said, looking at the Western Ghats all around us, he said, if there is no water in this region, there's no water anywhere in the world. So when the water comes, you will be ready with your bartan. That's what he said. Your vessel will be ready to store the water. We went down almost 17 feet. The silt that you see, it was all removed and bunds were created all along the water body. And we also created islands on which we have trees today. And yes, the bartan got filled. Now, what you see was with just 2 days of rain. And if this had not been done, the water would have just gone helter-skelter and would have been lost. Now it's 18 years. The water body is still full of water. And since then, there has been no looking back. The first one was successful in spite of all our apprehensions. And then we continue to do what we had to do. This is one of the first tanks of the Nile River Basin. It was just like a football field with hardly any indication of water storage. And this is how it looks even now. This is yet another water body with trees in it. The Social Forestry Department had planted trees inside the water body, which we could not remove. So we let the trees be, and then we have created extra storage capacity. This is a very interesting piece of work that was done by us. It is twin water bodies, Ganga Narayana Samudram and Sottayandikute, twin water bodies. What was special about this, what attracted us to this water body was when it rains in the hills in the morning, this entire place would look like an ocean, would have a lot of water. By the time the rain stopped, the Western Ghats, all the water would have gone away because there was no storage capacity at all. So what we did was created storage capacity. This is the other twin. And today it is a sight to behold. It has so much of water throughout the year, recharging the bow wells in the adjoining areas. The open wells are all full of water. Where they did not have water at 1,200 feet, they have water today at 200 feet, 100 feet, because the water has been standing in this water body and eventually percolating to sit in the lap of Mother Nature. This is a water body again within the corporation limits. This place was being used as a public toilet and for dumping garbage by all these houses in and around this particular water body. We cleaned it up, and today it has water. Because of this water, the bow wells in all these houses have started yielding water. Otherwise, the bow wells had all gone dry. This is one of our very exciting projects, I would say. The Western Ghats in the background. Obviously, there was a lot of water which used to come tumbling down because the PWD had constructed 7 check dams all along this particular stream. But eventually, for some reason, it had all got silted up. The construction of the check dams was also bad, obviously, so they had all got washed away. What we did was reconstructed the 7 check dams and created new water bodies in between each check dam. What you see here are the new ponds that were created. This particular area, when there was no water, this entire area had alluvial soil, very good fertile soil, but people gave up agriculture because there was no water. There was one particular farmer who owned 2 acres of land, but he had dug 17 bore wells, still there was no water. So we told him, if you had used that money, what costed you to dig 17 bore wells, if you had used that for creating water harvesting structures, you would have found water. What you see here is a site which is true even now. Agriculture has been revived. There is water in all the ponds, and agriculture has come back. This is our flagship project for the entire NGO. 350 acres in the middle of the city, right in the middle of the city. None of us knew that it was 350 acres because it was filled with the building debris, the corporation garbage, and generally a lot of shrubs. And it was a shrub jungle. Literally, it was a shrub jungle. So nobody knew what was happening inside. So when we took this up with a lot of reluctance, the corporation gave us permission. There you see the mayor was with us to start the entire operations. What was interesting about this project was every Sunday we would have people. We would have children, we would have the elderly, we would have the armed forces, we had police, we had just about everybody joined us on Sundays to remove the silt. Yes, we had the JCBs, we had the land moving equipment, all that was needed for 350 acres. All this took us just 3 months. And what you see is the reward for the toil, for the sweat that was shed by the citizens of Coimbatore. A place which was totally devoid of water, which had puddles of sewage, has water today. This is how it has been for the last 5-6 years. An area which was completely filled with debris and shrubs has water today at 12 feet, 13 feet, recharging the wells in and around this entire place. We have water at 200 feet, 300 feet. Human beings are happy, birds are happy. The entire biodiversity of this entire region has come back, bringing a lot of cheer to people and birds and bees and butterflies. Together, Coimbatorians made it happen. We really take pride in saying that it's the citizens of Coimbatore who have toiled and worked hard to bring water in their midst. Now, talking about streams which feed the river, there are 34 streams, 22 on the southern side and 12 on the northern side of the river, which keep feeding the river. A river becomes perennial when its streams are intact, when the streams are able to channelize the water and keep feeding the river. Now, this is one of the streams. This was requested by the farmers. We go by the native intelligence of the farmers of the local area. They were pleading with us, they were pleading with the government to construct a check dam, but nothing happened. So when they approached us, we made a requisition to the government. With the help of the government under the self-sufficiency scheme, we cleaned up the entire area. We built a check dam, and sure enough, like what the farmer said, there was water, abundance of water. Today, close to about 650 hectares of agricultural land benefits out of this particular check dam. And not only that, the wild animals living in the Western Ghats quench their thirst in this particular waterfall. 13 years later, the same check dam, you see the silt, the amount of silt. This is what happens to all water bodies. I'm showing this to you to show how maintenance and protection is very, very important to any activity that is carried out. This is the amount of silt that had accumulated over the past 13 years. There's so much of silt. We started removing the silt. We started repairing the check dam because over 13 years there had some cracks had formed. So we repaired all of them. And this is how the whole thing happened. There's so much of silt. We also constructed what are called small gabion structures. These are called gabion structures made out of stones. This is basically to stop the silt from flowing into the check dam. So this was the dam after it was repaired and rejuvenated, and the storage capacity of the entire check dam has increased manifold. And this is a site again to behold. New water bodies. This is Chinmaya International Residential School. The school has about 1,000 students, and they used to buy water through tankers. Loads of tankers had to bring water for meeting the needs of the students. But once we created this particular water body, right at the foothills of the Western Ghats, they have not had any. All their borewells got recharged, and they have water in plenty. Similarly, the Anna University campus. Sorry, I'm rushing through because I want to cover all the activities that we have been undertaking. Now, urban rainwater harvesting structures are the dire need of the hour. It is very, very important that we harvest every drop of water that falls within any city, any the entire place, thanks to urbanization, has become a concrete jungle. Where will all the water go? The rain water that falls within the city, where will it all go? With 100 millimeters of rainfall falling on 1 hectare, 1 million liters of water can be harvested. 1 million liters. We have, Coimbatore gets 650 mm of average rainfall. with which, going by the formula that I just shared with you, 1,62,500 million liters of rainwater can be harvested. Now, water supplied by the corporation from 2 reservoirs is 55,000 milliliters. That is the water that is supplied by the corporation. Apart from that, of course, people use borewell water, that's a different thing. But we have excess of approximately 1,07,500 milliliters. Now, all this water needs to be taken into your aquifers, needs to be taken into your ground. Because there is so much of water that we are drawing on a daily basis through bore wells. It is like your ATM. If you're not going to remit any money into your account, you can't be endlessly drawing money out of your ATM. So literally your bore wells, your aquifers are your ATM. You have to keep recharging them. Unless you keep recharging them, one day you're going to be left high and dry. And therefore, it is our aim to save every drop of water that falls on the ground. These are the rainwater harvesting structures. Some of them, this one here is the one we have in our office. During the monsoon, there is so much of water that comes in, it percolates and gets into the aquifers. There are several ways through which rainwater can be saved. One example is our office, Siruthuli, the Real Life Center. We have approximately 1,500 square feet of rooftop, which can provide water. Now, the rooftop, the water falling on the rooftop is channelized, taken into a filter. This is the filter, which has charcoal, which has sand, different sizes of gravel, and the water gets filtered and goes into a storage sump, which can hold about 21,000 liters. The capacity is 21,000 liters. It gets filled about 4 to 5 times in a year. And this is the water we drink. Now, this water is pumped back into an overhead tank and we treat it. We treat it through AquaGuard, the UV treatment, and no RO. And that is the water we have been drinking, clean, fresh rainwater. Otherwise, all that water would just have gone for waste. These are the rainwater harvesting structures that have been constructed in open spaces, factories, educational institutions, residential associations, so on, and in a lot of apartment complexes. The circular ones in open spaces, rectangular ones along the roads, and then dual purpose rainwater harvesting structures which can be used to draw water as well as harvest water. What you see here is a street in in Coimbatore. When it rains, there was a downpour and the entire street was inundated. We had close to about 1.5 feet of water standing on this particular road. And thanks to a rainwater harvesting structure we have here, somewhere below this, within 2 hours, the entire water got taken into the ground. This water would have otherwise got stagnated for days on end, creating a lot of mess and mosquitoes and stuff like that. Just 2 hours and the entire water was gone, taken into the ground. Milestones that we have crossed as far as water conservation is concerned is over 7 million cubic meter of storage capacity has been added. We have standardized and rejuvenated 30 odd streams, 30 odd tanks have been deseated, and more than 750 rainwater harvesting structures have been constructed. The impact is for all to see because we don't have serpentine queues anymore for people standing in queues, long queues, waiting for water. We still have a very, very long way to go, until we restore the Royal River. But we have made a beginning, and then I'm sure we are going to see through. The blue returns to Coimbatore. The dry, parched water bodies have water today. It's a sight to see. We have used technology in all our activities, which has helped us immensely. What you see here is the Western Ghats, and these are the streams, the fine streams, first order streams in blue, the orange, second order, and then the green. Finally, all these streams join together to feed the river, which is the river here. Now, all these streams we have a clear task on our hands. Now, all this was done with the help of Google Maps, as well as our own application engineers who painstakingly drew all these streams. Now we have to rejuvenate all these streams one by one if we have to make this river a perennial river. These again are the rainwater harvesting structures within the city, the green ones. And here are the water bodies that are in the process of identification and the process of completion and the process. These are the green ones are the ones which have been completed. And we also use a lot of hydrogeological tools to identify areas where the aquifers are connected to the water bodies. Unless the aquifers are there below the water bodies, whatever we do is going to go for waste. So we use a lot of hydrogeological tools with the help of experts to help us identify areas and connect the aquifers with the water bodies. Now moving on to afforestation, brown to green. This is what you see, and things have deteriorated since then because the roads, urbanization, Coimbatore has literally become a concrete jungle. Our mentor and guide, Dr. Abdul Kalam, has been with us, has been guiding us, and we still believe he's with us, watching and guiding us. He was the one who encouraged us to plant a lot of trees. He flagged off the Pasumai Painam, that is the green journey, when he was the president in 2005 by planting a tree, a people tree. And today the people tree stands tall in our POC park, where we have all our nurture nature camps for children. We engage children from schools, from colleges. We engage people from residential associations and several others in all our afforestation activities. So you see here you see children not only planting trees, hugging trees because they just love being with nature, growing saplings and collecting seeds and several other activities. Again, we follow a procedure for our afforestation, which is a field survey, cleaning of the plantation area, pitting, and the plantation process as such, maintenance for 2 years. What you see here is the concrete jungle where we used to have lush green corridors. Today it is end-to-end concrete, ugly concrete structures. The last 5 years, we have moved on to creating urban forests within the city based on the Miyawaki concept. Akira Miyawaki was a Japanese expert who devised this concept of creating urban forests, native trees, native saplings, native species of saplings planted very close to each other. And what you see here, the same place 18 months later. It is literally a jungle. It is literally an urban forest where the biodiversity has returned. This is Anna University, very close to Coimbatore. What was a barren piece of land, the university authorities requested us to plant 100 trees. When we went there, we asked them if we could plant 500 trees. They said, why not? So the 500 trees today has become 85,000 trees. In 30 acres, it has literally become a jungle. Between 2016 December and 2017 December, the entire place, the biodiversity of the entire region has transformed totally. The temperature has come down and we have cloud cover for a good part of the year. You have a cloud cover over this particular region with birds, bees and butterflies making it their home. This is yet another example of Miyawaki forest. The Central Reserve Forest Force. This entire place was barren. You see this building here. 3 months later, Miyawaki trees have grown. Half the building is covered. 15 months later, the entire building is not visible. We use sewage water from this entire campus. So not only the sewage gets used, but it also is used for cleaning trees. CRPF campus is one of our projects which has given us immense satisfaction as far as afforestation is concerned. Now, we add a lot of excitement to our afforestation activities. This particular plantation is at Bharatiya University. This again was a barren piece of land. We had 10,000 saplings planted by 5,000 student volunteers in 3 months. And a year later, this was every anniversary of Dr. Kalam, we have a plantation drive. And this was done in 2019 on his anniversary. And 1 year later, exactly 1 year later, you have a mini forest there, which brings into within its vicinity a lot of deer, a lot of elephants, and even a panther was sighted. Railways have a lot of land everywhere. They have huge tracts of land. If those lands could be recovered and it could be planted, we could use them as planting sites, it would add a lot of greenery to any region. This is what you see, this entire place was filled with building debris again, a lot of corporation garbage. We cleared it up. The building debris was used to create a bund here on the northern side. And the sewage water, there's a sewage canal which runs across. The sewage was used to plant these trees. We are yet to, next month, we'll be celebrating 1 year and we already have a forest there. We also add some new ideas to our afforestation activities to make it interesting for people. When our singer S.P. Balasubramaniam passed away last year, we thought, why not commemorate his demise by planting trees. So this was like a musical note, a walker's path, like a musical note. We planted 74 trees to denote the 74 years of his living on Earth. And what is unique about these trees are that they're all trees which are used to make musical instruments like mahogany, jackfruit, mango, red sanders, and so on. Bamboo, all the trees whose wood is used to make musical instruments are planted here. It was planted by actor Vivek, who unfortunately passed away 3 months later. The tree that he planted, it was such an emotional moment for us that the day he passed away, the day after he passed away, the champa sapling that he planted started flowering within 3 months, which was a surprise for all of us. So we believe that Mother Nature responds. She is there answering all our concerns, and she's been guiding us every step of the way. Today, SPB Vanam has a lot of trees. It has grown hardly a year. It's just 10 months since we planted these trees, and it is already a mini forest. And the place is also being used for people to have celebrate their birthdays by planting trees at SPB Vanam. We offer tree certificates to commemorate milestone birthdays or anniversaries and so on and so forth, which people have been participating most generously. Today we have more than 20 plus Miyawaki urban forests. 0.7 million trees have been planted in and around Coimbatore. And according to a study conducted at Anna University, which is one of our larger sites, 21 microfauna, including birds, butterflies, amphibians, soil insects have been found. And the average temperature is found to be less than 4 degrees than the surrounding areas. Wastewater is another challenge in any urban scenario. There's so much of wastewater which is getting mixed with the rainwater, the pure and pristine rainwater, and spoiling the quality of the water. This is something that we have been researching on, and we are looking at working with the government closely to ensure that waste will get treated and non-potable uses. This water can be used for non-potable uses or for agriculture. This is one such that we have done, a decentralized sewage treatment plant, but we have a long way to go in this particular area. So the brown to gold is your garbage getting converted into gold. This is an experimental rooftop garden that we have in our office where we grow vegetables with manure recovered from garbage. Those are vegetables grown in our terrace. Most important of all is awareness. Awareness is the key to ensure that nature is protected every which way, every step of the way. It is important that we nurture nature. We have nurture nature camps for children. Trustee of Siruthuli is a program that we organize for children every Friday. We have children coming to the office and we take them through the entire eco-conservation. They participate in seed collections, they participate in raising saplings, they participate in planting and just about everything. Water and air belongs to everyone. It does not look at color, caste or creed. Here we have many hands joining their souls to make a difference to the environment in the world. We are confident we have a very, very long way to go, but together we can make the world a better place to live in. I have tried my best to share all that we have been actively doing the last 18 years. This is just a glimpse of what we have been doing, and we'll be more than happy to share our experiences with all of you to make the entire nation a better one to live in. Thank you very much. Thank you, Wishwa, for giving me an opportunity to share our experience actively with your viewers. Thank you.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
My main question is that we have a lot of overflow from our tanks, and basically we have overflow from the tanks as well as, there is a lot of wastage of water in terms of rain water harvesting. I'd asked this question, what is the way forward? As we need some guidance. This is in our building actually, because every day when I'm walking in the morning, I feel very heartbroken because a lot of water is wasted through overflow of tanks. And if we had some way of reusing it, that would be excellent. The other thing, of course, is I had brought it further when, sometime back in WishwaTalk, when I had heard another talk, I had raised this query. But unfortunately, I think it wasn't really met later on. I put this question across because we don't know how to go about it, and I live in a building.
But you have automatic stoppers. Once the tank fills up, automatically cut the flow. So you have a lot of automatic gadgets available which will cut the flow.
Okay, that's one part of it. We've almost always thought of addressing it, but somehow it has not happened till now. Every time it is overflowing. And the other thing is, of course, about rainwater harvesting, because I thought that is so common, and in so useful way we can recycle, because wastage of water, I know, is a big issue.
No, it's a very, very simple, I think, considering the time, I think we have to look at, there are several ways. Today you can run it through a filter like I showed you, run it through a filter and it can be taken into a sump. And you can use the rainwater. Or you can have a bore well, which can, with the perforated pipes, which will take the water into the aquifers, directly into the ground. Which can both as a bore well to draw water as well as the dual purpose pumps. Either you can use the water to harvest, you can harvest the water, or you can, you can use the bore well as a device to take water out as well.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
So, as you were showing in your article, this PPT that I was showing that how the rainwater in somewhere in Coimbatore, you are trying to save it. But here I've been seeing I've been in Hyderabad for last 2 decades. In most of the areas, the water, which is rainwater, just getting wasted. Every in the season, this rainy season, I think millions of liter water getting wasted. And having seen your this presentation, I was very much really surprised that why government is not adopting such measures or can collaborate with you so that it really can save the water, because just going waste and even the people are in a lot of trouble. So what is your take on this?
Sir, Professor, but I think we have waited long enough for the government to step in and do things. I think we have to help ourselves. Yes, ultimately, when there is no water, the government has a lot of other things to look into. So this is something that I think we need to take charge of. You know, like the water that falls within my campus, within my house, belongs to me. Why should I let it go out into the street? If I'm able to harvest all the water that falls within my, I can, you can look at this particular website of Mr. Shivakumar in Bangalore. He has a house which is just 5 cents. Okay, in that 5 cents, he has 3 tanks, which houses about 40,000 liters of water. He does not have a corporation connection. All the rain that falls within his premises is collected and stored in these 3 tanks. And he uses only rainwater for all his need, for all his requirements, whether it's his bath or his drinking water requirements. Everything is taken care of with the rainwater on just 5 cents of land. So you can imagine the amount of water that we don't even realize when there is a torrential shower of rain, we just let it go. That is when we need to pull it all together and harvest it. And I have personally, like the 21,000 liter tank that we have, we used to buy bubble tops. And it used to be so painful. Looking at those bubble tops, we don't even know where that water is coming from. Now, if all that water if we can, just 1,500 square feet, and we are harvesting it. 4 times a year, it fills up. 21,000 liter tank fills up about 4 to 5 times. So which is about 100,000 liters. And that is more than enough for us to drink. And also the excess we use for our plants. So I think we have to look at things more granularly and say, let us not wait for the government to step in before it becomes too late. Let us take responsibility of our lives. Let us take responsibility. I want air. Let me plant trees. I want water. Let me see how I can create my own water. We'll be more than happy to share our experiences with you. It is simple. It is difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. But then you think of how it's going to be 10 years from now, 15 years from now. The population is increasing. The need for water is going to increase. Now, after that, before it's too late, let us create our own rainwater harvesting structures, see how we can save water. You must visit this website, Mr. Shivakumar, A.R. Shivakumar, Bangalore, you can see it. Phenomenal work. And they have a rainwater harvesting park that he has set up in Bangalore, in Vijayanagar or something. And all kinds of landscapes, he has given models. The models are there. Any kind of a landscape, how to create rainwater harvesting structures, construct rainwater harvesting structures.
Recently, what happened, the very terrible situation, the government are just marketing out their propaganda for their own programs, which are not much important in this nature. I was surprised now in UP, what is the pathetic condition in Bihar and in Uttarakhand, the water, so much water into the state. So at least you can be an example for such,
No, sir. Initially, the government was not very receptive. But today we have the government, but for the government, we would not have been able to carry out all these projects. Once they know that the citizens are really concerned about water and they are willing to help, they'll certainly help. I can tell you that. I can assure you that the government will step in big time if you really want to participate.
Thank you so much.
A lot of our audience in Hyderabad want to do water harvesting, but we don't know somebody reliable to reach out to help us in water harvesting or how wastewater should be treated. Could you guide us to whom these citizens can reach out to?
Actually, there is a rain center in Chennai Rain Center. This gentleman, he consults. I mean, you can consult him.
How do we get the details?
You just Google, you see Rain Center.
Rain Center.
I forget his name, but he does a lot of work.
Please do pass on the information later on, so that if anybody watching the web talk would like to have information, we would like to pass on this information.
No, you can even have him as one of your guest speakers. You know, he's very good.
We'll do that. Can you guide us with rainwater harvesting and wastage of water through overflow? So same, we will reach out to the same person.
Yes. Wastewater is something that we have not been able to get a solution and find a solution at all, because one, it is very expensive. And the nature of the contaminants also changes from area to area. In certain areas, it is domestic sewage. In certain areas, there are industrial effluents, which has a lot of heavy metals that has to be treated differently. And basically, sewage treatment is a very expensive proposition. But we are trying to find out how we can simplify it and have it decentralized. I think we can do it.
Thank you so much, Vanitha, for coming on such a simple request I've made, and you immediately...
Most welcome, Shivani. And it's always a pleasure for us, because water, everyone needs water. It's not just Coimbatore, every one of us, we need water. And India is going to be, considering the population, I think water is going to be the biggest challenge in the coming years. And if we are not going to watch out, and if we are not going to take the right kind of initiatives to protect and preserve our water bodies, I think we are in for a lot of problems.